Our next guest in today's Google Fest is the CEO. This guy is such a hoot. Is the CEO of Overstock.com. They went public the Google way. This is Patrick Byrne, the larger-than-life Overstock.com CEO. Patrick, given the fact that Pete, P-E-T, which also worked, and Overstock came public this Dutch treat way, I mean, can't we just say, what the heck? It's certainly better than the way that they did it before.
Absolutely. This is hands down a better system. It's a better mousetrap. It's not ambiguous. It doesn't trade anything off. People are going to look back in 3 years and say, how did the conventional Wall Street system last as long as it did?
Why is it so much better?
Well, because the conventional Wall Street system is corrupt.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it is corrupt.
Well,
you know, Jim.
I thought I was the only one who ever said any stuff like this. Yeah, I hope my dad's watching. I was throwing the rocks. Like, go ahead, man.
Why is this better?
I can explain it in 3 points. First, as a general principle, anywhere in human affairs that there's guaranteed profit to be allocated, there's kickbacks. Doesn't matter if you're talking about some third world customs official or a white shoe Wall Street banker. It happens. Secondly, the conventional system guarantees profit. They get the heat going about the stock, then they underprice it, shovel it to their buddy in some sleazy hedge fund.
You gave a Lexus example once.
Yeah, well, it's too long. You guys always cut me off when I start talking.
No, you got the ball.
Okay, if I had a Lexus, no, you have a Lexus, Jim, and it's a $30,000 Lexus. You hire me to...
No, it's actually 60, but that's
okay, a $60,000 Lexus, you hire me to go sell it for you. I take it out, and I sell it to a buddy of... You hire me to go sell it, I sell it to a friend of mine for $30,000 instead of 60, then he turns around and sells it for 60. You know, have I defended your interest?
No.
And now,
that's what Wall Street does all the time.
So what they do all the time, and now what if it turned out that my buddy actually had me come over the next day and I mowed his yard or something, gave me 10 grand to mow his yard? It's clearly a payoff. That's how the whole system works. So the Handbrake system, because it's an auction, doesn't allow that sort of guaranteed profit to be allocated. And that's why the conventional old boy system hates it. And people are going to look back and say, gee, why did we ever put up with that for so long?
I think you're totally right. We've been doing it with this one way for 100 years. Let me ask you something, Patrick. You're Elliot Spitzer, okay? There's a cartel that sets the price between 6 and 7%. This deal, doesn't it show you that the cartel is a useless, monopolizing entity that extracts wealth out of people who typically only go through it once and therefore don't know any better?
Absolutely, and I think that's probably an insult to cartels. I mean, these people are worse. I had people threaten me that if I went with Handbrake, I had all the banks tell me, I'll work with any other bank, but if you go with Handbrake, we'll never pick up analyst coverage on you. That was one of the ways. I don't negotiate with terrorists. As soon as they told me that, I said, I'm going with Handbrake. But Elliot's, you know, it's a useless cartel that extracts rents by shoveling underpriced IPO allocations to their buddy in some sleazy hedge fund, and then the hedge funds give them the kickbacks. That's why in the last couple of years you've seen these banks paying $100 million and $1 billion fine in one case, and there's one guy who's on trial right now in New York for doing this stuff.
Mr. Byrne, let me ask you this. A lot of folks have said, oh, if we had Dutch auctions, this would avoid the bubble. I understand how a Dutch auction will make sure that the company gets a lot more money that they left on the table, but doesn't this also make a lot of individual investors possible to be suckers and getting in really early and paying way too much at the beginning, just like they did back in 1998 and 1999? They're not going to be anything preventing them from getting in.
Well, I understand your point, but what the individual investor who thinks they're going to get in on some IPO that's going to triple in the first week, they should stay home because it's not going to happen. If there's that kind of demand, to begin with, the auction is going to find it, so you're not going to get a big triple. Now, I've worked with Handbrake. I did it once. They will price in a 5 to 10% tailwind, so everybody understands it comes out of the gate and it trades up a bit. But the guys who are in there to get a flip should stay home because they're not going to get it. Therefore, the only people who bid should be the people who understand the business, like it. They're not getting in because they think they're getting some piece of paper on an uptick. They're not day traders. They're people who understand the business and think that it's a reasonable price.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you for having me again.
Man, don't ever change. Stay the way you are. They haven't gotten to you yet.
Never.
Patrick Byrne, CEO of Overstock.com. Thanks so much.